Hi everyone, my name is Cola. Today is going to be special as it's story time with Jen. She tells such great stories and I am so excited to hear them. Would you like to join us?
Hello there. My name is Jen and it is time for a story with me. Are you ready? Our story continues, like all great stories, far, far away in a magical land. This wonderful place is called Wordland. Wordland is a wonderful place of learning and friendship. We last left Leon, going off for a picnic with A, B, C, and D. They have just enjoyed a wonderful picnic together and are now parting ways. This was turning out to be a really good day for Leon. And so, Leon continued on to town. He was happily going on his way when he spotted a beehive. Said Leon to himself. Honey, said Leon out loud. Leon paused and looked at the beehive longingly. Now, there's something I need to tell you. Leon has a sweet tooth. A very sweet tooth. He just can't control himself, as he really, really loves anything sweet. Honey, said Leon again, as he slowly moved closer to the beehive. Leon could smell the sweet, sweet honey. Everyone in Wordland knows that Mrs. Bee makes the best ever honey. It was then that Leon saw it. The jar of honey that Mrs. Bee was making. Honey, said Leon, and moved even closer. Leon looked left and slowly looked right. Mrs. Bee was just nowhere to be found. Leon looked at the jar again and said, I am sure Mrs. Bee won't mind if I took just a little. Now, Leon was a good lion, but sometimes he does make mistakes. He was about to take some when he had a strange feeling in his heart. Leon stopped. He would always feel this way when he did something wrong. And Leon knew this was wrong. Very, very wrong. Leon slowly backed away from the jar. Just then, Mrs. Bee returned. Leon, what are you doing? Said Mrs. Bee angrily. Leon looked at Mrs. Bee and could see she was cross. I saw what you were going to do, said Mrs. Bee, looking directly at Leon. Leon felt very bad and said softly, I'm so very sorry. Mrs. Bee looked at Leon carefully. She could see that Leon was really sorry. Even though Mrs. Bee was still cross, she said gently, Leon, I took a long time to make this honey. I put a lot of effort into this. You really should not take things without asking. Leon looked at Mrs. Bee again and said, I know. I am so sorry. Well, said Mrs. Bee, the good thing was that you stopped. You saw that, said Leon. I see everything, said Mrs. Bee. Then Mrs. Bee surprised Leon by saying, Come back tomorrow, the honey will be ready by then. I will let you have some then. Are you sure? Asked Leon. Yes, said Mrs. B, we all make mistakes. Just remember, the next time, to ask before taking. Leon was so relieved that Mrs. B forgave him. Leon thanked Mrs. B once more and said, I know, I will always ask first. And with that, Leon waved goodbye to Mrs. B and continued on his way to town. Okay, we shall end the story time here, for now. But before I stop, I would like to show you what we learned. We saw the words beehive and also a jar of honey. We also learned an idiom. An idiom is a sentence that has a different meaning from what it is. The idiom we learned was a sweet tooth. This does not mean that the tooth tastes sweet. No, it means that someone who loves anything sweet. That's right, it means that someone who loves ice cream, cakes, candy, pies, or anything sweet. We will say he or she has a sweet tooth. Now, for our most important lesson. We should never take anything without asking first. Can you imagine if this happens to you, someone taking something from you without asking? You would feel sad, right? So you should never take anything without asking. You really don't want to make someone else feel sad or bad. I will leave you now, but I will be back soon with another story about Wordland. Until then, be kind and keep learning. See you soon.